Hi everybody, I got another announcement to make, something new in our lives here. My name's Kevin, I'm a solo driver for Crete Carrier and you're watching The Joy of Trucking. So you know I was off for medical leave earlier this year and I came back on duty and Crete found me a brand new Freightliner. It was really sweet of them to put me in a new truck and all that, but I do prefer a Kenworth, and you all know that about me. I do prefer Kenworths over other brands. But it was nice being in a new Freightliner for a while. Our friend Anthony here at the DeLand terminal, my home terminal, he put out the word. He sent a message saying, can we get slow Kev into a KW? So I guess there were some new trucks available at the time, and a few days later I got routed through the terminal in Lenore City, Tennessee, which is where I picked up my last Kenworth. And sure enough, there was a few there. And I was assigned a brand new Kenworth T680. Well, hello there, look at that. This is a 2025 Kenworth T680 that Crete Carrier just gave me to drive. I'm just checking under the hood. Everything's so shiny, new and colorful. All fluids are good. All belts are snug. And look at this. For the first time, disc brakes all around. I haven't had disc brakes since I was with my trainer in 2021. Got the very wise utility door on the passenger side, so I can get my triangles out in an emergency without getting killed. Slightly reduced fuel tank size there. At the back deck, there's those disc brakes. Gotta love a new greasy fifth wheel. Paint still on the airbags. Good rubber. Couple of load bars. There's my new number. There's a Xantrex 1200 watt inverter, a huge basement with a light. The other side of that beautiful engine, Cummins X15. All right, here is the tour of the 2025 Kenworth T680. Lovely. Home sweet home. So we got ourselves a 2025. My last one was a 2023. Yeah, I was very happy with that. Very, very glad to get back into a Kenworth. Did a walk around, did an inspection and looked for signs of change, something new and exciting. The interior is identical, I would say. The truck is set up to the specs from Crete Carrier, so the same, you know, the little vents down here, the windows up there. The dashboard is the same, the digital display and all that sort of thing. But one new thing I did notice, this truck has disc brakes all around. All our trucks up till now have not had disc brakes. The last time I drove a truck with disc brakes was when I started with Werner and I was in my trainer's truck for 3 weeks. And I did notice a difference at that time. And I just feel the disc brakes give you more positive control. You feel a little more confident braking, you know, especially in emergency situations and stuff like that. I think it's a good thing. And looking at the assembly itself, there are fewer parts to the whole thing. Less moving parts. You don't have those little cotter pins and linkage and straight pins and all that stuff that could fall out, get lost or whatever, and cause you a serious problem somewhere down the road. So I think they're much better for a lot of reasons, and so Crete's gonna collect the data on the disc brakes on that they've equipped on some of their trucks and see if they're gonna go ahead and get the whole fleet set up. So I hope it happens, I really do. We'll probably hear more on that in the future. Other than that, moving day was in Lenore City. I was in the middle of a load, so I had to get things switched over pretty quick, and a very basic setup to begin with, and throughout the week I started adding more and more things. I got my memory foam on the mattress down here and got all my dishes in the right place, my clothes and everything. Real quick, you know, just moving into this truck, right away you notice the differences between the Freightliner and the Kenworth. I think there's more cabinets, there's more storage on the Freightliner, even up above here. More places to put things and tuck things in, so when Tanya's on the truck there's room for all her stuff too, you know. The fridge is in a different place and it opens differently. I like the one on the Kenworth, it's more like a slide out drawer. The one on the Freightliner is a door that opens sideways, but for me, I always found I had to get down on my hands and knees and duck my head and almost be on the floor so I could reach something in the back of the fridge. You can't see all the way in. And on the old Freightliner I had, the door started swinging open every now and then. I'd find stuff rolling on all over the floor while I'm driving. Apples and oranges and bottles and who knows what. So yeah, I like the drawer better. It's more secure. Might not be as convenient as a side opening door, but I think it's better for me. That's my preference. And Tanya notices the lighting in the Freightliner's better. The lighting for, you know, if you turn on all the lights, there's still a lot of dark areas. You can't really see things. It's harder. And what I've done here is I put up an LED strip on the above the lower bunk. I turn that on, this place is lit up like a stadium, but maybe Kenworth needs to work on that little detail a bit. You know, supply a little bit more lighting, you know. The ceiling lights on the Freightliner, there's like 3 different. There's a big square up there that lights up like bars of lights. And here I got 4 little LEDs in one spot there and a couple over there, and that's it. So yeah, there's another noticeable difference. Also in the Freightliner you have a pull-out table, so you get a little bit more workspace, you know, if you're cooking or doing paperwork and stuff like that. That's really nice to have a table, and I wish Kenworth would figure that one out too. The first Kenworth I had with Werner, there was like a swinging table on the nightstand there, so it was kind of partially over the bunk, or you'd swing it out and it would be sticking out into the aisle. That was nice, a really nice workspace, but maybe Kenworth could figure out just a slide out drawer right there on that cabinet. It's the simplest thing, you know. I did not have a plate on this truck, and the same thing happened with the Freightliner, but by the time I turned in the Freightliner, I hadn't gotten a plate for it yet. I got this truck and drove for a month and got home and headed out again, and the tag arrived at my home terminal the next day. So I was kind of playing tag with my new tag, trying to figure out if I could get to a terminal, if they could ship it there, and it just didn't work out. So I wound up having to get another sort of a renewed temporary registration, which is okay with the truck because you don't have a plate on it. The temporary registration will get you by inspections and so on. But an interesting thing, my DriveWise app did not work on the ELD the whole time. And I kept calling and saying, what's wrong with this thing? And, oh, just reboot it, you know, do a hard start, and re-enter your name as the user. And we tried a lot of different things, and I kept working at it, and then I had a conversation with a friend who said, it's probably because you don't have a plate on the front bumper. When I got the temporary registration renewed, the plate number was on it. So I called PeopleNet and told them the problem, and I said, now I've got a plate number. Even though I don't have the plate yet, it's at my home terminal, but I know the plate number. So they called DriveWise, and a lot of emails went back and forth, and they got it. So the plate number had to be entered on the subscription for the DriveWise app, and the people at PeopleNet took care of that. The next day, I was getting way station signals and bypasses. Thank God, because it was almost 2 months. I had to pull into every way station that was open on the road several times a day. It was getting a little annoying, but I'm glad that's resolved now. So if you ever get into that situation, you're in a new truck, your DriveWise doesn't work, it's because you need the plate number. It gives you a truck, and the license plate and the registration kind of catch up to you later. So the temporary registration is good for 45 days, and hopefully you get back home and pick up your plate in that time. And you know, if you don't have a license plate on the front bumper of your truck, you can actually run into problems with shippers. That happened to us at a place near Los Angeles in the valley there. We pulled into a distribution center, dropped the empty, pick up the loaded, and at the security gate where you come in and they tell you where your trailer is and they give you your bill of lading, they said they weren't going to give me the trailer. I said, why not? They said, because you don't have a plate on your truck. I said, it's a new truck. The plate's gonna catch up to me, whatever, you know. Like there will be a plate on this truck. I said, no, we can't give you this load because we've had a couple of problems with people coming in, hooking up a loaded trailer and taking off to Mexico with it. So without that plate on the front, they can't tell your truck. They won't be able to stop it at the border if they see you going across. All kinds of problems with that. So I had to sit there, and it was a Saturday. I had to call my company and have the customer service rep call their company and talk to their salesman and then talk to their people and have them call the guy at the gate. I think it was about 3 hours we were there waiting because I didn't have a plate on the truck. So be aware of that if it ever comes up for you. What else can I say about this truck? I'm real happy it's a Kenworth. Everything is working fine. I haven't had any issues, nothing broken down. I haven't had to take it into a shop. Yeah, everything's working great. No problem. And I'm really glad that Crete took the trouble and the time to get me into the truck that I really wanted. Thank you very much, Crete. It shows that you care about your drivers and you take good care of them. So, without any further ado, I think we'll wrap this up. Look for a tour of the new truck. There'll be a separate video on that in the future. Right now it's a little bit messy, so let me get my act together and tidy things up, and we'll show you that one at another date. Thumbs up if you like this video. I know you're all rooting for me, hoping I got back into a Kenworth. Thank you very much. Comments down below. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and I hope you see me in this truck down the road. Bye for now.